You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News, special Sunday night edition. First thing I wanted to talk about tonight is a post that I saw yesterday evening after my stream from my friend on Twitter, Outlaw Josie Wales. If you guys don't know who Hollywood Anon is, Hollywood Anon is a person who posted on the boards. They claim to be a former Hollywood blockbuster star, someone who had information about the way that Hollywood works. And they confirmed all of our worst fears. Complete and utter depravity, the blackmail, the things with crimes against children, just, exactly what we've been talking about. Now, apparently there was another Hollywood Anon, someone who was actually friends with the original Hollywood Anon. And they posted, looks like on 8chan, and Josie Wales here saw this and grabbed it and put it on Twitter. Now, several other people since then have also done this. You might have heard in the news that President Trump has pulled 2,000 of our boys and girls out of Syria. Just a while ago, he took an 11-hour flight in total darkness and secrecy to go out to Iraq with the First Lady and visit the troops there. "We are no longer the suckers, folks," was his storming declaration. With President Trump, you get what you see, and that's what we love about him. He delivers, and so does Noble Gold. They've put together this stunning solid silver coin to underline what a great job he's doing. With highlights of his achievements to date and a portrait on the front, any Trump supporter would be crazy about one of these. Go to www.trumpcoin2020.com and use the code REDPILL to get free shipping, a value of $6.50. Go to trumpcoin2020.com and use the code REDPILL78 to get $5 off per coin and free shipping, which is a $6.50 value. That's code REDPILL78 at trumpcoin2020.com. But Hollywood Anon 2 says, "Hello, I am not sure if this will be seen much, but I was directed to post on Q General Research. I know Hollywood Anon. I am another Hollywood Anon. I need to remain entirely anonymous, but I have been in several blockbuster films and television in the last decade. I will just say, this is all very real. You cannot imagine the depravity that exists in Hollywood. Nobody is entirely clean, including myself. Some are much worse than others. But anyone with serious commercial success has done something they would never want their fans to know. The A-list knows Q is real, and they know Trump is on their asses, and he's coming for them. They feel extremely betrayed by Trump, which is why they are seething with rage. But be easy with your judgments. Many were forced and born into this life, as many others were tricked into committing heinous acts for fame or do not have control of themselves. Some are breaking free. Watch Kanye. He is a hero to many. Keep up the fight." Now, Joe M. had retweeted this, and he said, no mercy. Doesn't matter what you've done. But I think that Hollywood Anon number 2 here makes a very, very good point. Some people were born into this life. Some people don't know any other way. And I believe that people can be brainwashed into thinking that they are living a life that is good, even though perhaps something inside of them tells themselves that they are doing something wrong, and I'm talking about a spectrum of behaviors here. The fact that he says, everyone in Hollywood has something in their past that they wouldn't want their fans to know, that could be as small as, drugs and alcohol. Or it could be as horrible as the crimes against, those who cannot protect themselves, our children, our young ones. I think that there's a certain behavior that people would know intrinsically was not right. But I think there's other things that people could be, told is, something that's, everybody does it, so it's normal. So I just, I do hold, I suggest that people hold out judgment, ultimate judgment. But I think that in general, the behavior of Hollywood is depraved, is disgusting, and anyone who is involved in this stuff needs to pay. Now, next, this is from my buddy Mike, SpaceShot76. He posted a little clip of Matthew Whitaker testifying. So let's listen and hear what Matthew has to say.
Office of Inspector General is currently looking at the Carter Page FISA application, which is a very much of a concern. And it is also being reviewed at the same time, simultaneously by Mr. John Huber, who's the U.S. Attorney from Utah.
So the OIG is looking at the Carter Page FISA application and then the subsequent granting of that. as well as U.S. Attorney John Huber. He admits that John Huber is working on this, okay? So anybody who has something to say about John Huber saying he's doing nothing, he's just running a tight ship. He's working, and people are not leaking. Why? Because they're doing the work in the manner that they are supposed to be doing it. In a perfect running system where law and order exists, you are not supposed to leak this stuff out there, okay? You get reports in testimony and hearings such as this, but you are not supposed to be leaking out what you're doing. The reason that you see the Democrats and the cabal leaking this stuff out is because they want to change people's minds in the court of public opinion before any information comes out about it. So John Huber is doing the work. OIG is doing the work. They will make recommendations. John Huber will bring indictments. My friend MAGA Believer 2020 retweeted this post by a man by the name of Rick Wilson. He posts a picture of himself and Adam Schiff there. And he says, "Dear hashtag QAnon." He's mocking us. He wants people to see this, and he wants us to get angry. Tony Schaefer, T-Spooky, I love him. He says, "Beta male brothers." Good to know that the future of the DNC is going to be led by men who prefer bubble baths to basketball, days at the spa instead of days on the range. Brilliant. Oh my God. Oh God. Earlier today I was trying to record my morning video and I accidentally went live and I was streaming for like 15 minutes. Kind of embarrassing, but people gave me a pass. They said, "No worries, brother." This gentleman right here, or maybe I shouldn't say that because he's not, but Will Sommer wrote an article doxing a pastry chef, a woman who works at Mar-a-Lago, who is a QAnon follower just like us. And he says, he's talking about the article. It was actually, originally found out by Z Everson. They're doing anything they can to discredit Q and people that follow. And Greg Gutfeld, after he gives credit to the original dude who did the article, Greg Gutfeld says, "Clear the space above the fireplace for that Pulitzer, gentlemen. You've broken the QAnon pastry chef story. Next week, we share Trump's gardeners over her tweet about chemtrails." We shred Trump's gardener over her tweet about chemtrails. Hilarious. I love Greg Gutfeld. Now, we are going to read that article. And, there's no revelations in here. All he does is take a woman, he names her, and then he calls her out for being a Q believer. You know what? There's nothing wrong there. I'm not going to ever say her name out loud, but her name is already out there. So that's why I'm going to do the article. Trump employs QAnon believer as pastry chef at Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort appears to employ a pastry chef who frequently posts online about her belief in the pro-Trump QAnon conspiracy theory. EA will call her a Florida pastry chef, has posted dozens of times on Instagram using QAnon hashtags and slogans, often using pictures taken at Mar-a-Lago itself. A's Instagram posts were first reported by 1100 Pennsylvania, a newspaper, or a newsletter rather, that reports on Trump's properties. On Christmas, for example, A posted on Instagram a picture of a gingerbread house in which appears to be a Mar-a-Lago ballroom. The side of the gingerbread house is emblazoned with a Q made of blue frosting and dusted with glitter. Oh. It wasn't clear whether A herself has added that frosted Q. "Merry Christmas from the Jewel of Palm Beach," A wrote, adding a hashtag QAnon hashtag and the acronym WWG1WGA, a reference to the QAnon slogan, "Where we go one, we go all." This girl is awesome as far as I'm concerned. If it wasn't for the fact that she deleted her accounts and made them private, I would be following her everywhere. Great work, by the way. Solid work. Love it. Not that she's going to lose her job at Mar-a-Lago, but I think there are patriots all across America that would hire her in a heartbeat. QAnon centers on thousands of clues posted by an anonymous person called Q, who posits a world of satanic rituals reminiscent of the P-Gate conspiracy theory. QAnon believers think that Trump is engaged in a shadowy secret war against pedos in the Democratic Party and in Hollywood. All true because they are. QAnon believers have been involved in dangerous incidents, not true, with one charged with shutting down a bridge near the Hoover Dam with an improvised armored truck and another accused of murdering his brother with a sword because he thought he was a lizard. Conflation. They are taking these two events, which were not about Q, all right, and tying them to the movement so that they can discredit all of us. Well, if that's what you're going to do, then why don't we talk about the guy who sniped Steve Scalise? What about that, Will? Are you going to write an article about that? All Democrats are crazed snipes. Alfieri, A, and the Trump Organization didn't respond to requests for comment. A's LinkedIn page shows her in a chef's uniform with the Mar-a-Lago on it, and she's described on the menu for a charity fundraiser as a chef at Mar-a-Lago. A made her Instagram private after being contacted by 1100 Pennsylvania, although some of her posts are preserved online through aggregator sites and in screenshots. In her profile on a pro-Trump group's website, A writes that she quit her job to have the privilege of using my talents for the service of the first family, as would any of us, I would imagine. I would jump at that opportunity. Since then, A appears to have gained access to Mar-a-Lago's inner workings because she does her job well. On New Year's Eve, she posted an Instagram picture of a fishing-themed birthday cake intended for Donald Trump Jr. when it was still in the kitchen, adding a QAnon-related hashtag to the post. A Google reverse image search doesn't turn up any other examples of the picture online that weren't related to A's Instagram. Beautiful work, yet again. This QAnon individual is very, very talented. Happy birthday, Donald Trump Jr., she says. Trump Jr. later posted a picture of himself with the same cake on Instagram. Oh, Will is shaking and clutching his brooch right now. A also claimed to interact with the Secret Service at Mar-a-Lago. She posted pictures of Secret Service security pins, tagging them with the QAnon-related hashtags. Those aren't the only QAnon references on A's Instagram. She once posted a picture of a Mar-a-Lago table marked 17, a number that is important to QAnon believers because Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet. Merry Christmas, Anons everywhere. Where we go one, we go all. QAnon, Q, A wrote, alluding to QAnon believers who call themselves Anons. A has found ways to tie her passion into baking into QAnon. In January, she posted a picture of a bundt cake with a slice cut out to form a Q. Nothing to see here, A wrote in the caption, adding the hashtag DoYouSeeMeQ. Here are the pictures of her Secret Service pins and buttons. Here is the beta that wrote the original article and exposed her, doxed her. Look at this. Beautiful work. Great work. Great work, A. I appreciate everything that you've done for the president and this work that you have done. Unfortunately, this is the kind of stuff that will get you doxed online. They want to make people who support this movement appear to be insane. Well, you know what? You're the one who thinks Hillary Clinton should have been president. That makes you pretty sick in my book. A has also made QAnon references on her Twitter account, which has been deleted. She uses QAnon slogans in her Twitter bio. She has also interacted on Twitter with The Real Aranon, a Twitter account that pretends to be John F. Kennedy Jr., who QAnon believers claim is still alive. This isn't the first time a QAnon believer has been close to a top Trump administration official. Trump met in the Oval Office with QAnon promoter Lionel LeBron in August. Love your work, Lionel. A Florida SWAT team officer wore a QAnon patch while protecting Mike Pence in November. Oh, that dude was awesome. And was ultimately demoted for wearing the patch. And he was also offered a job by the Q team. They said that they were going to fast track his application if he decided he wanted a new career. So, the moral of the story is that there's nothing wrong with believing in Q. And I say that we rally around A. We rally around anyone who gets doxxed by these Democratic sickos. And we need to make them realize that they cannot take our power away simply by saying that we are in this Q movement. I proudly proclaim myself to be a believer in Q. People may not know who I am doing this show, but when I meet people in real life, I tell them about Q. Next, we have a movie trailer that Space Shot had tweeted out. Let's check it out. This is for the QAnon Where We Go One, We Go All movie that some Anon put together. Looks pretty exciting to me. We are living out the greatest movie ever made right now, and I am proud to be a part of this movement. Now, this is horrifying, and I got a lot of people checking out this thread that I started today. It's actually began with my friend Mernsky on Twitter here. She posts this article from the Washington Post. Now, apparently, epinephrine oxidizes and becomes adrenochrome. Epinephrine has a notoriously short shelf life, about 18 months before they have to pull it. But it turns into adrenochrome. Now, I had a couple people in my feed saying that this was junk science, but it clearly says that the FDA-approved label warns that if the liquid in the pen is discolored, it should be discarded. Epinephrine solution deteriorates rapidly on exposure to air or light, turning pink from oxidation to adrenochrome and brown from the formation of melanin. By the process of oxidation, it morphs, it synthesizes into adrenochrome. We're going to go ahead and take a look here at the article real quick from Washington Post. Now, they don't stress the fact that it turns into adrenochrome, but I'm sure that the elite knows, and I'm sure that this is maybe why epinephrine in these pens is so expensive. You've got now an injectable adrenochrome solution once it gets past that 18-month date. It used to be 24 months, or they're trying to get it to be 24 months, but it used to be originally 27 months, and then they found that after 19 months, that's when it begins the oxidation process. So I would imagine that these pens, are probably not just thrown out, but they are probably sold to the elite. Now, what are they making epinephrine from? How do they make epinephrine? I don't know. But I had a couple people post some documentation on my thread here, and it's about adrenochrome, the adrenochrome hypothesis in psychiatry. The adrenochrome hypothesis of schizophrenia was stimulated by the work of Osmond and Smithies, which focused on methylated derivatives of adrenaline or possible endogenous schizophregens. They showed that the experience which followed the ingestion of mescaline was in many ways similar to the experience induced in normal people by schizophrenia. This drew attention to derivatives of adrenaline and of all the sympathogenic amines and their precursors as etological factors. However, in 1952, very few of these compounds had been studied. With our resources, we were forced to limit our studies to one derivative, adrenochrome, an oxidized, colored derivative of adrenaline. So little was known about its chemistry that it was not surprising chemists had concluded incorrectly that it was inherently unstable and difficult to study. We allocated much of our chemical research to this interesting substance. As a result, at the direction of Dr. R. Heacock, an enormous body of data was gathered and published detailing the chemistry of adrenochrome, its synthesis, metabolism, conversion to other products, and its reaction with substances like ascorbic acid. Adrenochrome is a member of a class of chemicals known as aminochromes, each one derived by the oxidation of a precursor amine. So this is a scientific paper which just detailed that they understand the process, that it is synthesized through the oxidation of a precursor, which happens to be, in this case, epinephrine. So if anyone wants to know about this quote-unquote junk science, I suggest that you read this paper. I will include the link in the description below. My friend Maga Believer, who works for New Right Network, has volunteered to be the first journalist to ask President Trump about whether or not they support the administration and he support the Q movement, and if there is anything to do with the Q drops. So check her out. My friend Rocco posted a video of Trey Gowdy referencing tribunals. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
It is evidence of a serious investigation, not these 5-minute congressional, but every one of the people that Johnny just referenced was deposed by a committee of Congress with no time limits on the ability to ask questions. So is there going to be accountability? It depends upon whether tribunals are willing to do what Johnny just did, which is spend hours interviewing the Jim Bakers and the Jim Comeys. Remember, we had Comey for 2 whole days.
So he used the word tribunals. He didn't use the word grand juries. Oh, that was originally posted by Deplorable Rach, who I also follow. And Donald Trump posted many hours ago this morning, the only collusion with the Russians was with crooked Hillary Clinton and the Democratic National Committee. And where's the server that the DNC refused to give to the FBI? Where are the new texts between Agent Lisa Page and her agent lover, Peter Strzok? We want them now. Before we get to the next thing about that, my friend Q University had discovered that the Great Awakening hashtag is now being silenced and edited out by Twitter. It comes up with The Greatest Showman, a movie that came out 2 years ago. The Great Segunril NSG. Really? The Greatest Dancer? You gotta be kidding me. So, in relation to that post from President Trump, first of all, let's see. So, we'll do it this way. Earlier this morning, Q Plus had posted 45 minutes after President Trump. President Trump posted, "So funny to watch people who have failed for years. They got nothing, telling me how to negotiate with North Korea. But thanks anyways." And then 45 minutes later, a 45 Delta, Q Plus posts, "They never thought crooked Hillary would lose. So many disastrous mistakes made, returning power to the people." Q Plus. That is the voice of President Trump right there. And I point to the tweet that President Trump did shortly thereafter, which was the tweet about crooked Hillary. So we've got the 45-minute Delta, and then Q Plus, President Trump posting as Q right there. President Trump saying crooked Hillary in a tweet right after that. Now, next, our friend Methods had posted this very disturbing video of Bill Maher supporting crimes against children. Let's take a listen.
The cover, Mary Kay Letourneau, the teacher from Seattle, who is in jail because she is in love. That's how I view it. I admit that it's unorthodox. She is 35. The boy is 14. He was younger when they started. But the big story this week.
Has he been bar mitzvah?
Have I?
No, is he?
Oh. Okay. But she is pregnant again. That was the story this week. With the second child by this boy. So basically they're having a family and they're keeping the mother in jail because she won't conform to what society feels should be the perfect American family.
Yeah, it's perfect. My dad's 14 years old older than me.
Absolutely sickening.
What is sickening?
A woman who's over 20 years older and she raped this kid.
Raped?
Well,
come on. She forced? How do you know? And how can you?
Well, how do you know that she didn't rape him? How do you know that she didn't seduce him?
How can a woman rape a man?
I think that an older woman can manipulate a young kid, and I don't think it's really healthy. I don't think it's healthy for a kid who's going to be 14 with 2 kids out in the world. I think those children will grow up fairly damaged. I think that kid's going to grow up fairly damaged.
So you're on her side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Henry Rollins said it best right there. You have an older person manipulating someone whose brain is not developed, who cannot legally make decisions for themselves, who is now being a boy bringing other children into this world. It is sick. It's not right. And Bill Maher is a perfect example of sickness in Hollywood. So Methods then posted this picture of Bill Maher together with Anthony Weiner. We know what that means, asking if Bill Maher had his own folder on Anthony Weiner's laptop. And then in that thread, there was a picture of Bill Maher in this pimp priest outfit with these red shoes on. I think we all know what those red shoes mean as well. And right here, if you'll remember, Bill Maher had a production company called Kid Love Productions. He has multiple times on his program defended the act of crimes against children. And here's another picture of Bill Maher wearing those red shoes. Now, the Pope wears red shoes. We know that people who are involved in this depravity, these crimes, tend to wear red shoes. So, Bill, why don't you talk about those red shoes, sicko? And finally, we've got this tweet, which is from Methods as well. Check out what was spotted in Colorado. There it is, a boom truck with a flag and a giant sign that says, "Who is Q?" Somebody needs to ask the president the question because it is everywhere now. It's time to bring it out. It's time to bring it out. But you know what? Something tells me it's not going to happen until these arrests start getting made. And I'm holding out for March Madness. All right, everyone, that is all I have for you tonight. I want to thank you for joining me. As always, I am Red Pill 78, the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.